Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome to my channel and the first video. Today we're going to start with complexion and foundation. Right now we are using some primer after a clean and moisturized face. Primer is pretty important because it is kind of like a thin layer that kind of protects you from the makeup, but also makes makeup application go a lot smoother, and it also makes the makeup last a lot longer. So it's a really good product to have under your makeup. It also, of course, depends on your skin type. So make sure you do some research and figure out what your skin type is. Ask a consultant or anything that can help you figure it out if needed, and just pat that in there and until it gets kind of tacky or soaks up pretty well through the skin. And then after that, I'm using the foundation that Charlotte, my model here, has provided me. It was easier for her to give me her own. So I'm using NARS foundation in St. Moritz. And I'm going to use my Sephora brush number 66 to kind of apply it all over and just kind of like spread it out through the whole face. It's kind of going to look very crazy and gonna look like you're gonna go into war or something, but once you spread it out, then you can actually start to blend it all together with a sponge, or if you want to keep blending it with your brush, that is okay too. It's just a preference, really. There's no better or whatever you or superior tool that works with application of the foundation. I'm using kind of both right now. I use the brush to apply it, and then um, the sponge to kind of like dab all over, and it's going to give you a nice, flawless, more natural finish than to streak it around, because once you streak it, it just kind of moves the foundation all over, when this just kind of like presses it onto the skin, making it look more natural and smoother, and you can blend it all over the face to under the chin, down the neck, to kind of like really give you a more blended look instead of kind of like a mask. So that's always important. Just keep that in mind. Dabbing and blending is like the most important thing in almost any makeup. Doesn't matter if it's foundation, eyeshadows. The only thing that you kind of streak around really is lipstick, and sometimes not even that. So here we're using a color corrector. I'm not using a whole lot, as you can tell. I'm very lightly putting it on her little apple, the apple of her cheeks, and blending it with some more foundation. I use it just to kind of bring down a little bit of the red. I didn't use a whole lot, so kind of like start small, and if needed more, then feel free to apply another thin layer. And I also am using concealer to help with that. And here we're using her own NARS concealer, which works really well. So, and I blend it with an even smaller sponge. It's my little baby sponge. And I just do the same motion of tapping or dabbing. I'm telling you, this is going to be like the best way to do it. If you haven't dabbed or tapped foundation or makeup before, you're going to notice how much easier and how much prettier it looks. So after that, I'm going to want to set my pretty much all the work that I've done by using a setting or a translucent powder. And in this one, I'm using Tarte's translucent powder. And you're going to want to again dab it on or roll the brush. You could always use a sponge for this too. I'm just kind of used to using a big fluffy brush for this. It makes it easier to tap out the excess as well. So, and I just kind of roll it on, and I know I kind of put a little bit too much there, but this is literally easy to kind of brush off any excess if needed, but I roll it on. And now the rolling and tapping, the reason I'm doing that um, with the powder is because it really helps kind of like make it sink in. Same way that you put the foundation on and it kind of like sets into the skin. This is doing the same thing, only with powder. It makes it dry a lot faster as well, and also another thing that makes it last longer. So You could always use regular powder, and when I mean regular powder, I mean like tinted powder, like powder foundation if needed. Or you could just use translucent powder if you like the look of your foundation alone. It just depends on your preference and your skin as well. I personally, on myself, like to use foundation powder, and then I kind of used a color correcting translucent powder on top of my cheeks and my T-zone. And by T-zone, I mean like the forehead, nose, and chin, and the side of my cheeks, like the little apples of my cheeks. Because for my skin being a little bit oilier side, I really want to make sure that it stays like that and like my makeup doesn't move around or melt off. So I always kind of put a little extra on there for myself. So if you're have the same if your skin is more towards the oily side, then you might want to do that as well. But again, it all depends on your skin type. So make sure you figure out what you need. And yeah, so this is kind of how you apply some foundation on. Pretty simple, pretty easy once you get the hang of it. So anyways, there you go, guys. Just let me know if you have any questions down below and I'll try my best to answer.